Hello everyone. In today's session, we are going to learn how to create and interpret frequency distribution table using SPSS. Now the question is, what is a frequency distribution table? A frequency distribution table is a table that shows a category and the number of times that category appears in the data set. So for instance, educational level, we have PhD. So out of the 250 sample, how many times has PhD appeared in these data sets? So that is basically how frequency distribution table is about. So let's use this data to practice. I will use a demographic information side for us to practice. And then before we dive into it, let me explain to you the kind of variables that are used or the kind of data that is used in frequency distribution table. We use the nominal and ordinal data in frequency distribution table if it is scale, unless it is put in groups. And then with this one, I have already explained them to you in our previous videos. What is nominal? There is no order of importance in the category. Ordinal, there is order of importance. And then scale is just the numerical data. So let's start. So for you to analyze frequency distribution table, you first of all go to analyze and then descriptive statistics. As you can see, then we select frequencies. So by default, all variables must be in this particular box contains all the variables here in the data set. So now the variables you are going to work with are those you push into the variables box. So we are interested in the demographic information. So we select them, and the demographic information includes gender, age, educational level, position, years of experience, and then type of institution. So you can hold the control and then select all. Then you use this one to push them inside, which means that you've already informed SPSS that these are the variables you are going to work with. So since it is frequency distribution table, you display frequency tables and then display it in APA style. Any of them is, so we say okay, and now we have our information. So now the variables we have considered: gender, age range, educational level, position, years of experience, and then types of institutions. Like I explained to you earlier, you cannot do anything with it here. You can't report it here unless you take it to Word. And earlier I have explained to you how we import to Word. So we take it once more. We go to File, Export. Then you come to Browse. That is where you want to show the location where the output must be. By default, it will direct you to Documents, but I always prefer having mine on the desktop, so that after I finish doing whatever, then I push it to wherever I want it to be. So you select the desktop and then you give it a name, and the name, maybe I can say frequency distribution. Let me just leave it that way. Then you save and then you say okay. Now it is there. So when you go back to the desktop, you can find it here. Now, with this one, you decide to you just take things that you don't need. So you just highlight them and then use the delete key on your keyboard, and it is done. So we have them here, which I have already prepared them here, but I will show you how to prepare them. So we have what you need to do is you have to get the category name, the variable name, and its categories in one particular column. And then the n here represent the number of times, and then we have the percentage here. So you come to insert. That means you need 3 different columns for this. And then depending on the number of variables, you first of all create it this way. So we have variables number of respondents, and then we have percentage of respondents. So our first variable is gender, and then we have our male, and then female. Then you come to this side. So with the male and female, just input their information. 202 for the number of times for males, and then 48 for the females. And then with their respective percentages, we have 80.80 and then 19.2. And then we come to, so you take this one out, the ages. So we have 18 to 25 years, 26 to 35 years. So you just do it that way, in that order. When you finish, just click on here to highlight the whole table. You come here, click no border, then you come to table design, and then come here and then click any of them that you want, how thickness you want it to be. So with the APA table, it has 3 main lines, 2 covering the headings of the columns, and the last one covers the ending part of the table. So when you just click elsewhere, you see the other lines have vanished. So basically, then we input our information. So now, this is our frequency distribution table for the data. We just finished preparing. Now, when you bring it, you have to give it a title. Every table must have a title. So we have the information, or you can say the variables, all the same, depending on what the supervisor wants. Number of respondents and the percentage of respondents. So you can see our APA table. Now, when you are reporting this one, you have to make reference to the table name, because in your thesis you may be having a lot of tables, so you have to make reference to the table name. It doesn't matter whether the report is just below the table, it doesn't matter, but you have to still make reference to it. And then when reporting, you have to touch the frequency, the number of times, and the percentage it has constituted. So let's see how this particular one has been reported. Table 1, that is this one, present the demographic characteristics of respondents involved in the study, including gender, age range, educational level, position, years of experience, and institution types. So this one is just trying to tell us the kind of variables we included in the study. Position, so try to differentiate the variable names from the categories. So, and they are those we just stated first. So now let's come. In terms of gender distribution, the majority of the respondents were male. So, accounting for 202 respondents, that is 80.8%, while female respondents were 48, representing 19.2% of the total sample. Now you take each and every one of them. So this one, the total number is this, and it is representing this. And then this one, which means that the males are more in this study. But that doesn't necessarily mean you are making generalization or testing hypothesis. No, you are only describing what you have seen here to the respondents. To your audience. And then we come to the age group. You see this particular group, majority of them were more, and this is the percentage it is representing, followed by this particular group, and then and then the list was this. So when you come to the table here, regarding the age range, most respondents were within the age group of 26 to 39 years, comprising 118 respondents. This was followed by those aged 36 to 45 years with 60 respondents, and which represent 24%, and in that order, like I explained. So you just take it one after the other. So it is not difficult to report frequency distribution table. You just be looking at them, like which one is first. You start with the 8, followed by then, and then to the list. Then from there you take the next step, educational level. So concerning educational level, respondents with bachelor degree formed the largest group, totaling, so let's go and see whether it is true. So those having their bachelor degrees, they are more here. You could see them, and that is 120, and it's even more than half of the percentage, half of 100. Then followed by the master's students or those holding master's degree, and that constitutes 33.6%, and then the diploma or the HND, and that constitute 11.2%, and very few or few of them were PhD holders or still pursuing their PhD, and that represents 4%. So when you finish this one, then you move to the position, and then you report it in that order. So I'm going to leave it for you, slow down for you to read, and then with respect to job position, faculty members constituted the largest category with, I expect you to read these ones. Just read this particular paragraph. So now let's come to the next one, years of experience. So with the years of experience, we have most of them have worked within 4 to 6 years, and that constituted 35.6%, followed by those that have worked within 1 to 3 years. That is, in total, there are 76, and that constituted 30.4%. In that order. So now let's see how we put it in this report. In relation to the years of experience, respondents with 4 to 6 years of experience formed the highest proportion, with 89 respondents, and that constituted 35.6%. This was followed by those with 1 to 3 years of experience, and the number is 76, and that represents 30.4%. Participants with 7 to 10 years of experience accounted for 49, that is the count, and 49 respondents, and that represents 19.6%. While those with more than 10 years experience were 24, and that is 9.6%. Respondents with less than 1 year experience constituted the smallest group with 12 respondents, and that is 4.8%. This indicates that respondents has adequate professional experience relevant to the study. That means most of them have worked for more, so they have more experience. It's just only few that have worked less than 1 year. So our final information in the demographic table is the institution, the type of institution. So those with the private institutions were 174, and that represents 69.6%, and followed by faith-based university, depending on how the person collected his data. So this is also another institution, another type of institution, faith-based university. I don't know whether it's just about religious university, so I can't tell more. I had the data to analyze, so I'll find out. And then that is 60, the number of respondents were 60, and that constituted 24%, and few were from the public university, that is 16%, and which constituted 6.4, sorry, there were 16, the number of respondents were 16, and it has constituted 6.4%. So let's see how it is reported here. Finally, regarding institutional affiliation. The majority of respondents were from private universities, accounting for 174 respondents, which is 69.6%. Faith-based universities constituted 60 respondents, and that is 24%, while public universities recorded 16 respondents, and that is 6.4%. This suggests that private institutions formed the dominant institutional representation in the study. So basically, that is how we go by the frequency distribution table. So I just use this demographic data to work with, so that with the information here, I think you can also use it. Let me go back to the data. You can also use it to work with something like this. Maybe you go here, we pick all these ones out. So you can try some of these things, some of these ones. Try to report them for us to see. Prepare your APA table. Export the data, then prepare your APA table. Please, if you enjoyed this video, like and then subscribe and turn on the notifications such that you wouldn't miss the next important videos. In our next videos, we will start with the inferential aspect of analysis. So before then, see you.